Hey, Deep Chatters, I'm Leah Morris here with my co host Jennifer Butler, and this is Deep Chats Podcast, where we have raw discussions about real life. Each week, you can expect unfiltered, no BS conversations from the heart about topics that actually might matter to you. We're just a couple of relationship coaches who want to cut through the small talk and dive deeper. So thanks for joining us on this journey, and be sure to subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. Hey, Deep Chatters. It is just me today, just Leah reporting to you. I decided I wanted to get on and do a quick recording about just something that I've been processing lately on my own, and maybe, some of you can relate to it. It's the idea that, while we're in this isolation period, while we're in this time of aloneness, what sort of is being brought to the surface for me. The term that comes to mind is surrender. And I have been talking to a few people about this lately, and I've talked to my therapist about it too. And it's kind of like we're all forced into this position of handing over our illusion of control and sort of saying like, well, I'm just here to be present to what's going on and sort of to surrender to that. And I want to bring this up because I think a lot of times when we think about surrender and when we think about handing over quote unquote control, it's there's a little bit of a fear and anxiety that comes up, and maybe not even a little bit, maybe like a lot. And so really being able to drop into like, where's this coming from and why is this showing up for me? But also like, you don't have a choice. Right now we're sort of in this place of, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows how to deal with this. Not even, our leaders and our healthcare and our medical personnel. Everybody's just kind of figuring it out as we go. So it's brought us all to this really level playing field that I have found a lot of comfort in, as much as I've found a lot of discomfort in, if that makes sense. We're all just sort of here in life, I think, figuring it out as we go. And I think that the people who have the most freedom and the most, who feel most fully alive are the ones I think that have decided to surrender to what's present and to really be in that, and to not put so many expectations on the way we thought things ought to have been, or the way we hope for things to turn out, or the way we, imagined or fantasized about things to be. I mean, it's such a hard place to be, but I think the fact that we're all in it together is really helpful. The other day like I said, I was talking to my therapist, and she said, what's one word that would describe your general feeling right now? And I said, it's strange because the only word that comes to mind right now for me is free. And I don't mean free as in like, I can gallivant all over the world. Actually, today I was supposed to leave on my one-way trip to Europe, but surrender, right? Things change. And I just, I was describing to her, it's interesting that I feel this sense of liberation when we're literally ordered to stay in our homes and to stay out of contact with people. And there's all these, new rules and new things being like put on us and stripped away. But it's weird that it took that for me to feel this sense of freedom. And by freedom, I guess I just mean the releasing of attachment to the things that I really didn't need to be attached to begin with. I understand there's a lot of beneficial things that go along with attaching ourselves to a goal or attaching ourselves to, a vision. But I think really what it comes down to is like those things are not certain ever to begin with. And making sure that, whatever your attachments are, they're not things, right? They're not like things that we don't have real control over. For me, I found a lot of freedom in saying like, I want to set an intention to uphold, what it is that makes me, to lean into the things that I value most, to not lose my sense of self. And in fact, to maybe gain more of a sense of self through this, because we're not constantly having to, be in contact with other people. And I mean, maybe you are at home, maybe you have, roommates or children. That's, there's a different experience there, I'm sure. But for me, it's having this stillness and this alone time has been quite liberating. And I know that I'm speaking, from a place of privilege, I think, and having a lot of things at my fingertips. But just trying to reframe like that sense of anxiety that was showing up for me to begin with when the whole isolation and the coronavirus hit, reframing that as like, wait, what is actually going on here? And for me, it's freedom. So I would love to hear, if you could describe in one word or phrase what it is that you're sort of extracting from this whole experience. It doesn't even need to be positive, you guys. Like if it's negative, it's negative. Like I hate that. I hate even labeling those things, but whatever's coming up for you right now, I like to tell my clients, like, this is your medicine. If you are struggling through something, what is that? That's your medicine. If you are feeling something come up in you and it's exciting to you, that's your medicine. And I think these really difficult, challenging periods, especially since we're all going through it as a collective, can be such a pivotal moment in our awareness. And it can be a really transformational time. So I'd love to know what's coming up for you. There's no right or wrong answer. And I hope you guys are all staying safe and loving each other from afar. I know I love you guys. All right, take care of yourselves.
To all you deep chatters out there, Leah and I want to thank you so much for listening. This is a podcast that's all about connection, so we'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on Instagram at Deep Chats Podcast. And if you haven't already, please go to iTunes to rate and review us. Every review helps other deep chatters just like you be able to find this podcast.